We're gonna give it a couple minutes here. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna take out my video. I have something in the stove.
Pardon?
I'm going to take out the video. I have something cooking.
Oh, okay. Cooking. I didn't catch the cooking part. Hi, Beth.
Hi, I got another Zoom running on my phone, so I'll be.
Okay, no problem. Just let us know. She's coming right down the hall.
How was your weekend?
Oh, good. Yours?
Being active. So I just got 2 buyers approved, so I did take advantage of this weekend because like, I don't know when they're gonna be available. So I'm just like, you know what, kids, everybody, let's go out because I don't know what's gonna happen.
Oh, wow. Good for you, though.
I'm just sending everything for them to sign right now. It took me long with those wires. It took me long. One of them I'm working since November.
Oh, wow.
Is that the one you told us about?
No, that person just keeps calling me every once in a while.
Oh, gosh.
He said he's gonna wait now until June, so we'll see what happens. But I did talk with Matt about him. And I did tell him, like, he keeps calling me and it's like, okay, every time that he asks me a question, like, I answer him the question, but it's like, that's a good time. That's why we have to sit on the table and face to face. But it's like, he keeps calling.
Yeah. I don't want to meet.
Yeah.
All right, well, how about if we get going?
Yeah, sorry.
Are we good with that? We got a couple people online. I don't think they're showing up there, but so how's Ignite going so far? Good? A lot of information?
Uh-huh.
Yeah? You just taking little nuggets and running with them? That's the way to do it. So my name's Peter Hiller, and I have a team right now. It's my son and I. We've had as many as 7 people on our team and as few as 2. We're kind of in that in-between stage right now where we haven't hired any extra help yet. So last year was a record year for the 2 of us. Last year we finished up with about, I think it was 13.5 million, which was a pretty good year for 2 people, I think. That's my take on it. How did we get there? That's what we're going to talk about today. Right? You know, I probably have taken some unconventional ways to get there. But most of all, the biggest thing I've done is develop relationships with people. And so for me, that's the most important thing, because if you're out talking to people and asking about real estate and, you know, telling them who you are, I mean, obviously we want to tell them we're in real estate, and they usually have questions, or if people can see through it if that's your only focus. People want to know that you care before they'll care to share. Does that make sense? So really develop those relationships. Every person you see, even if it's a waitress in a restaurant, well, not now. Let's see, if it's the Uber driver dropping off your Uber Eats, you know, people like that, always develop those relationships. So any questions for me about my business? And I mean, we've done this a few times. So up and down, up and down. The last, I think, 5 years has continued to grow. The reason last year was a record for us is prior to that, it took 7 people to do that kind of business. And we, with Command and a few other things that have helped streamline, it's easier to do more business. Does that make sense? So that's enough about me, right? Any questions you want to discuss before we get into today's material, which is finding seller leads? Somebody ask a good one, like, where are they?
Mhm.
If we're going to find them, we got to know where to go to get them, right? They're everywhere. Is that a true statement? Everywhere. So no questions before we get into it. Could you guys give me a little background of yourselves? And you guys online too.
Hey, Peter,
I'll call you out.
Peter, can you tell us like where you guys are officed out of, or where your area mostly is, or where your business comes from?
I sure can. Yeah. I office right here out of Roseville. I've been with this office since it actually was in Arden Hills, which was 2006. And the areas we focus on is we've got a small area in St. Paul. It's in the 55117. We've got a small area in Roseville and a small area in Arden Hills and a small area in Shoreview. And when I say small, I'm talking these areas are 150 to 300 homes. So not a massive area that we connect to. I've built both my son and I have built our business pretty much on people we know, Saphir, and just as I was saying earlier, developing relationships everywhere I go. It isn't, you know, when people find out you're in real estate, they have their own questions. We don't, you know, I don't make it a point to ask them for business usually, unless we have a relationship built. And once that's built, then it's okay to ask for business. Does that make sense? Did that answer your question, Beth?
Yep, thank you.
Yep. Okay, so. All right, let's start with, can you say your name?
I'm Elizabeth Williamson.
Okay, Elizabeth.
I am on a mother-daughter team from Long Susie. I don't know what else you want me to say.
Where you're at with your business?
Oh, we just got licensed early February, so
Okay,
we're very new at it.
so learning a lot. Okay, any listings or buyers so far?
Potentials, but no one's.
Yeah, okay. No, that's good to know. Okay, Yeah.
Gabby Dressen, July will be 2 years.
2 years.
So,
And you've got a couple buyers, you said?
yeah, so just, they got approved, so that's what we're moving forward.
Sweet, okay. Martha?
Here I am. Okay, so I'm Martha. I'm in the business since, I've been 4 years. I was a Coldwell Banker agent, and I just moved to Keller Williams. And the only thing that I've been doing is learning and learning and learning. You guys have a lot of training, which is amazing.
And every training you do, just take a nugget.
Yeah.
It's hard to swallow it all.
Oh, yeah. But it's
Nuggets,
amazing.
right?
Yeah. I love it.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
welcome.
Thank
And
you.
Beth?
Hey guys, sorry. I just got licensed at the very end of 2020. So just a couple months in, and yes, I share appreciation for the value of all the training and just trying to do a bunch of that. Now I own a childcare business that, yep, you done? Oh, I own a childcare business that I'm shutting down in 4 months. So
Wow.
forward to
You have a goal.
changing gears.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. It's just good do you have any listings right now, Beth, or?
Listings, no. I have one transaction that closes at the end of the month on the buyer side.
Buyers? Awesome. All right. Yeah, that just helps me know a little bit of where you guys are at. So this is the 8th class now, is that correct? So who would like to share what they're grateful so far in this learning journey? Like maybe one nugget.
I think like the different perspectives are super helpful. Like all of you come at this job from so many different angles, and it just shows us that, you know, unique perspectives work.
That's good. Yeah. Anybody else? No? Okay. How about what opportunities do you see for yourself? I guess another way to ask that is, you know, what inspires you in real estate? What's your big why? Why do you get up in the morning to do real estate? Not everybody.
I think it's to help people.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's actually why Elizabeth said to help people. And it's interesting because that is why I got into real estate, which I didn't address earlier, because I was hoping it would come up. Because if we get into it, a lot of times I hear people say, oh, the money, the numbers are great. Oh, yeah. Well, people can see right through that one. You know, if you're just in it for the money, you've got to be in it for the relationships and helping people attain their financial goals and their real estate goals. So that's good. Another question. What are you excited about? Like, let's say in the next 30 days, what are you excited about?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
What are you excited about for yourself in the next 30 days?
The weather.
Yeah.
I love it. Got to have the weather, right? So what does that do for our business, right? People get excited that, you know, Minnesota, it's
Listing.
yeah, people, you know, this COVID season has people, you know, unsure of what to do. And I think our job is coaching them through that. All right. Now that we talked about us for a little bit, let's talk about other agents. What do successful agents do every day?
Prospecting.
Prospecting. And can I ask, where would we prospect? I don't mean, you know, like on the couch or the chair. I mean, how do we find people to prospect to? Sphere. So you guys have all worked on a sphere. If the sphere is small, do we feel like we're bothering them? Or do we feel like we're providing them a service?
Sometimes both.
Aha. So if we come to them with value, they're usually pretty open and willing to talk. Is that correct? So, and that goes for buyers and sellers, right? So, two, we want to put together a listing presentation. You know, there's times my listing presentation consists of one thing. Well, two things. This. So does that mean I'm that good? No, not necessarily. That means sometimes I don't prepare. So one of the things I would tell you all today is always be prepared. Prepare 3 days ahead of time and be done with it. And then the day of, review what you're going to present. If it's a last minute appointment, and I've done plenty of those, that's when I bring the paper and pen. And I've been doing this long enough to where I know the numbers, because that's really what they're interested in. You know, buyers want to know numbers too. Sellers really want to know numbers, right?
You
For
can
most
turn it off.
sellers. Pardon?
No, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Lastly, preview real estate. How many of you go out every week and preview homes in their area or area that your buyer may want to be purchasing in? Get out and see those homes ahead of time. I don't know how many times people will say to me, well, I'm sure you've seen that one up in White Bear Lake, right? I'm like, yeah, right. Which one? You know, I always just nod and say yes, and then I go research it. That makes sense?
I did that last week for one client, one of the ones that just got approved for hire. Because we were looking for 150 to 180, so it's pretty low.
Pretty tough, yeah.
And what I did is I took a video because it was like a nice looking house, but the basement, it was not what she was looking for. So I took a video and I sent it to her and I'm like, look, this house, like, according to the price we have talked about and what you qualify for, is what kind of you will see. She loved the top part, she didn't like the basement, and that's why I told her, I did this for you, so you can see, like, I'm always looking there for you. So, and
Looking out for the client.
she loved it, so.
I don't know if you guys could hear that, but Gabi was saying she had done that for a buyer last week and did a video and showed her the video. And it pointed out the pros and cons and some of the things that she didn't want. So anything we can do to help our buyers save time, they really love it. I think there's never wasted time as we're doing our own research. Sometimes I actually bring the client with to do the research. It depends on the situation. If the buyers, even today, still think they can get a deal on a property and get it for less than list price. Anybody run across any of them yet?
Yep.
And it's like, no, we're going to be paying more than list price. And then you got to be able to show them some stats on that. All right, we're going to just keep moving here because so lead gen, you all have a database, right? And I'm sure most of you set that up in Command, so you're keeping in touch with them. What are things you talk with them about?
The Ford script.
The Ford script. I love it.
See, we're learning.
Yes, you are. Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. And that's interesting because that's been around for like 40 years, but it still works today because it taps into people's emotions, and they love to talk about themselves. Good. So growing the database is key to this, right? So if you have 20 people, it's easy to manage. If you have 300, it gets a little more difficult to manage. So how do we do that? We just do that step by step as we put them in the system. All right. So what is motivation? Anybody have anything on that? What would be a motivated seller? How would I as an agent understand their motivation or what it is? What is their motivation? Okay, we ask questions. What do I ask?
Why they want to move.
When
That's the obvious, isn't it? Why are you moving? Timing. So along with motivation, I mean, obviously there's different types. There's like that urgent, I mean, I've had divorces, I've had people getting married, people having babies. That one's really fun. Can we get in there in 2 months? Because the baby's due in a month and a half.
Or their contract ends in 2 months.
Yes.
I love those ones.
You mean the like a rental contract
Yeah.
ending? Yeah, and especially in this day and age, at the time that we're living in, I think it's good for them to understand that they may or may not need to extend their lease, or if they're living with mom and dad, let them know that this could take longer. It's all about educating them, isn't it? Okay, so there's a pre-listing questionnaire. Jordan, you're going to bring it up? I'll see if I can. She's coming.
I'm here. She's so good. I was in the middle of talking with others.
That's okay. Hey, we
My
got
name, and I was like.
nothing but time here.
What's happening?
All the, listing qualification.
Oh, we're trying to get to that.
Oh, there it is.
This guy?
Yeah,
Perfect.
sorry.
Can you see it, everyone? Yeah.
Yeah, now we can see it.
Okay.
Can you guys see it on Zoom?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
Perfect. You know how to get out of this too?
I do.
Okay. Got it.
So just these questions here has secured many listings for me, because you know that a lot of other agents out, even experienced agents, will not use a questionnaire. They'll get to the house and, show me around, and, they kind of give the seller control of what's going on. I think a questionnaire gives you the control.
Okay, they can't see it on there.
They can?
They can only see the presentation. I just saw it on my computer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Heather's
Oh,
gonna,
new share?
where do you do that? Haha. All right, can you guys see pre-listing questionnaire now? Good to go. Sweet.
All right.
My tech skills are growing every day. They're good.
So, number one, how did you hear about me? Did I call them? Did they never, how did we connect? These are pretty basic questions. Where are you moving? A lot of people will say, well, we're not sure yet. It depends on how much we can get. I ask them again if they say that. I'll ask it a different way. I'll ask, if you get top dollar for your home, where is it you want to be? Okay, it's Andover. All right. Because they know. They usually know. They just don't say it. And I make notes this whole time. I'm always writing. They love it when you're writing about them. How soon do you have to be there? And this is a biggie. If we sell your home in the next 30 days, will that pose a problem for you? They say yes, then you ask what it is. Well, it might be a job transfer, it could be, one of many things. However, make notes on that. So when you get back to the office or wherever you are, your home office, that they want to be somewhere in 30 to 60 days. So then you ask another tough one, which most agents won't ask. What would happen if your home did not sell? What do you think goes through their minds when you ask that question? You think it's a judgment on you, or is it a judgment on their house? I think it's on the house.
Really?
Yep. I think they take it personal. That's just, there's a reason it's asked that way. And because then they start thinking about their house. So, next question, how much do you want to list your home for? So this is a huge qualifying question. Because if you've done a little bit of homework before you got to the home and it's showing 420, and you get there and they're talking 520, it could, that goes into a whole nother presentation, doesn't it? So it could throw you off your game, or you'd be ready for it. I always like to be prepared for that. One of the ways I prepare for that, and you might think, anybody heard of Zillow? Do you think people use Zillow to find value in their house? You think they'll do that before? Yeah, most of the time they will. The savvy people will know, okay, Zillow says it's, at 475, but I still want 520. Anyway, I don't say too much about Zillow. I just say, it's not as accurate as it could be. But we'll get to pricing. I don't commit to price right away. And then asking how much do you owe on the property. If they owe 540, we're also in a problem situation. If they owe 310, then we know that they're in a pretty good equity position. So I'll be sending you a packet of information. Will you take a few minutes to review it before we meet? I don't know a lot of agents that do this, but on the higher end homes, I always do it. And because I want them to get it like next day. Like if they contacted me and I go through some of these questions, and we get to this one, I send it right out. And asking them if they'll take a few minutes, that makes them commit, and they do. I can tell stories, can I? You guys okay with that online? Go back, yeah, they're okay. So here's a good example of one. They were buying one of my listings, and they had a lake property on Turtle Lake in Shoreview. And I so bad wanted to get into that house, and he kept putting me off. I mean, like during the inspection on the one they're buying, and I kind of nonchalantly ask him, oh yeah, I'd love to come and see your house. And, well, then he's telling me his sister-in-law is an agent, and okay. But in the meantime, oh, wait a minute. Let me back up just a tad. He did commit to meet with me then, and then I sent out a packet and said, take some time to review it. And he did. I get to the house, and that's when I found out the sister-in-law was an agent. And the number one of his questions was, how do you handle it with family? And I was able to explain to him, this is a business decision, and sometimes family and business do not go as well together as they should. And he said, he actually stood up and he said, that's the answer I was looking for. And then he said, and Lori will tell you the rest of it. That was his wife. And so she went on to say, well, we'll probably never have Thanksgiving dinner again, all this stuff. And I'm like, geez, do I want to just call this other gal? And, which I did. I called her after they signed, and I called her, and she was okay with it. Anyway, so I was very persistent, and they had taken time to review the packet, and they signed with me because they didn't want to do business with family. So anyway, long story. I like talking successes. I won't tell you all the failures. I've had a few of those blow up on me too. And then asking, you know, do you have any questions before we meet? Well, they usually do. They want to know how many homes you've sold. Just know those numbers. And for those of you that, you know, if you haven't sold any homes, you can, you know, use the office numbers, use some numbers, you know, our office has sold X, you know. Is that, I mean, it's not, you got to get going somewhere, right? And so you've got a lot of people here in this office that support you. So there's no reason you can't rely on that information. You know,
Peter,
I'm not a, hi, Martha. Yep.
I have one. How do you handle the situation when I lost one good listing in Lake Elmo? He asked me, how many houses have you sold? And I told him how many. And then he told me how many in this area.
Oh yeah, that's a tough one, isn't it?
And
Okay.
I was honest, it was just one in that area. So I lost the listing because of that. Because
And
he
I
wants
have-
somebody with experience in that area to sell his house.
And that is true. And I've been in the same situation, lost listings that way. So how I handle it now is let's say somebody from St. Louis Park wants to sell their house. So way out of our, right? How easy is it for me to go in and micro neighborhood that area and find out what houses are selling for? Pretty easy, correct?
Oh, yeah.
And so if I've only sold one in the neighborhood, one of the things I'll say is that, well, I'm just getting started in this neighborhood and you're next. Right?
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Right? I mean, you always got to keep it moving forward. And because Martha, I'm like you, I lost quite a few of them. And actually one of them was Lake Elmo and Oakdale. They were moving from Oakdale to Lake Elmo, and so I lost both sides. It was quite a few years ago, but for that reason. And so I learned quickly that, you know, I've got to keep bringing value. You know, we can't, a coach that I've had through Bowl years ago, Diana Kokoska, she would always say, if you feel like you're starting to stumble in an appointment, if you're losing your mojo, drop your pen on the floor accidentally. And when you're down there, say, hey, I got this and I'm going to get it. Pick the pen up, put it back on the table, and it just changes your whole mindset. It's a mindset thing, right? And
Yeah.
don't beat yourself up for it. Okay. There's
Thank
gonna be
you,
plenty
Peter.
more.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And then setting the appointment, make sure that both parties are there. I'll give you a little experience here, maybe some wisdom. If they say, oh no, my wife has to work, or, you know, my husband's going to be at work, make sure that you meet when they're both can be there, because if they cannot both commit to being there, there's some other motivation behind that. Like maybe one is more motivated than the other. When we can bring them both together, then we can find out both their personalities and we can find out both their motivations. And I really believe they both have to be there. So, and then you just say, this is, I give them two choices, you know, Saturday morning at 8 a.m. or Friday afternoon at 2. Friday afternoon is probably what they're going to pick, right? 8 o'clock, well, then it's my bad. And then I gotta get up. I can't watch cartoons on Saturday. All right, now if I can figure out how to do this, we'll get back to our,
Can you share a copy of that, Peter?
yeah, you know what? Jordan is going to show you where to find it.
Okay.
Because it was interesting, because I couldn't find it. I have my own, it's all the same questions.
Okay.
Different little, but she's gonna share it with you guys, I believe.
Okay.
For some reason, well, that's what I was trying to find. We only can find the picture.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's all I could get today too.
Okay.
Sounds like she's on her way anyway.
All right.
Heather the hero.
Woo, woo, woo.
Okay,
Okay.
so they were asking how to find this document and, which I think
Your pre-list
Jordan, I
questionnaire.
think Jordan was gonna send it to him.
Perfect. Yeah, she'll send it tomorrow with the video.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna share the other screen, right? That one. What do I do without you ladies?
We've been zooming for a while. All right, can everybody on there see the Ignite PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
all right.
All right.
And we got
There
it up
you go.
here, so hey, success. So that was all about understanding motivation. That's, any questions on that?
So Peter, that questionnaire, would that be over the phone? Jenna?
I think I would customize it for either over the phone or in person.
Okay.
Because part of that, remember how it said, I'm gonna send you a packet ahead of time?
Yep.
So you're not gonna say that if you're sitting with them.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you are sitting with them. You don't have time to get that packet out.
Mhm.
Anyway, but like I said, I told you the one success story. I'd sent the packet out and he loved it. And that's what got me the appointment, so. Are any of you using like auto dialers or anything like that? No. So we don't have to get into that too much, right? So phone calls, if you're making phone calls, there's a, do not call list, right? So subscribe to that registry. Most of you, it's probably people you know, so you're not calling people that are on that list. I can remember a time in Bold, this is quite a few years back, and a lady just got angry with me, said, "You're the 25th person to call." And she was really upset. And I don't remember exactly what I said. I said, "Well, yeah, we're all working hard, aren't we?" She said, "Yeah." Well, then I ended up calling her that evening and I got an appointment with her. You just got to be persistent, right? I mean, they're angry because they're in the moment, but look, get out of the moment, get out of the emotion. And anyway, but always check before you call random people. I don't know what's going on with this one. Find seller leads. Okay, so your database. Who wants to tell me a little bit about their own database and where it's at today? There's no good or bad. There's no pass or fail. If you have more than 10 people, tell me about it. If you have 10, tell me about it.
So we're supposed to have 200.
That's okay,
Yeah, right, and we do. We have over 200.
which is good.
So we're still adding, I am personally still adding to it.
So You know, on here, it says do the 10-4. Have you guys talked about that? So building and managing your database. Daily goal is 10 to add in. Prospecting, connect with 10 new people. Follow up, write 10 notes like thank yous or and then know your market. Preview 10 homes weekly. And that's pretty doable, isn't it? I mean, like if you leave here right now, or those of you that are at home can get away, you might even need that break to get away. Go look at a couple of houses. You'd be surprised at what you learn. So these goals seem pretty, almost unattainable, doesn't it? 10. So what if you were to put one contact in every day? Or 10 a week? Is that growing your database? Yeah. Better that you have qualified people and people that you can do business with than just trying to just grow it for the sake of growing it, right? Make sense? Handwritten notes are really an amazing tool too. After you've talked to somebody, just send them, hey, thanks for taking my call. People are just shocked by that. You know, people don't write anymore, right? We send a text. So we can still send that text and then have, you know, a handwritten note. What does that cost now? 40 cents? I don't know. But so I think that's, what did we do here? So who here has been doing open houses? You guys have been? Avi, open houses? Beth or Martha doing any opens?
I did one like 15 days ago, but nobody showed up.
And I'm sure, and Beth, any? I know Beth has, because I've seen her on Facebook. And so doing an open for maybe another agent. I mean, you got to go to where the people are, right? They're not going to all come to you. So open houses are critical. Even though, like, we had one this weekend and it was just a few people that came. It was kind of scary. I was like, you know, are we in an adjustment here? No, I think it was just so nice how people didn't want to do that. They wanted to go walk around their own block. So, you know, you never know how an open is going to be. But you're not going to know how it is unless you do them. So referrals. What's a referral? Could there be a referral friend to friend? Could there be a referral agent to agent? I just, right before this class, I did one out in Granby, Colorado. I've never been to the condo, but it's a good friend of mine that lives here. And I interviewed like 4 agents and 3 of them failed miserably. So I'm telling you this so you can keep that in mind when somebody calls you with a referral, especially a friend-to-friend referral, follow up immediately. Don't put it off until you think you got everything perfect. Get a hold of them right away. Does that make sense? Follow up. The guy that I just referred to an agent in Colorado, he had told me last Friday, oh, I'll probably just sell it myself. The market's so hot out there, ... And so I went through some stats with him. I said, the average for sale by owner is off by about 15%. And I said, do you want to take that risk? And he said, well, Zoe says. And I said, do you think that's accurate? I don't even know the micro neighborhood he's in out there. But the way he described it, I mean, I know values in the mountains because I'm a skier. And I thought to myself, boy, he's way off. He's like 40,000 light. And so I was able to be real confident and say, I know we can do better for you. And I've got some friends that are anyway, so done. It's a half-hour conversation on Friday, and today took me about an hour and a half, I suppose. And the referral will be like, I'm not exactly sure where it'll end up, but anywhere from 1,500 to 5,000 for that much time. So it's really important that when you get referrals, follow up, especially those friend-to-friend ones. Follow up, follow up, follow up. Have you guys heard that saying, the money's in the follow-up? I'm not the first one to say that. I don't know why it's going back to this. Qualify and convert. I'm so glad you guys are so patient with me because I've never done a Zoom class with somebody else's laptop. What's that?
This is like our outline.
Yeah, yep. I just got to flip forward for a second. All right, this is the one I kind of want to talk about. We discussed a little bit of this as you guys are coming in. We talked about Ford, which doesn't say Ford on here, but I love the Ford. Family, occupation, recreation. Hey, skiing, I just sold a right? All those things. And dreams. What are people's dreams? Everybody has a dream, don't they? So then that kind of gives you a little bit of an insight into what their wants and needs and plans are, right? So, I know we've had buyers where, during the downturn, we were selling properties for 50 to 60,000. And it would be hours upon hours of our time. But we knew eventually that house and that client is going to turn into a step-up buyer. So some of those 80s, 60 to 70,000 turned into 200 sales a few years later, and then they were buying, 350. So where is a big question, which we had already talked about. Why are they moving? What are reasons people move?
Upgrade or
Downsize? That's pretty big for people my age, isn't it? I can connect really well with people like that because I've done it 3 times. We upsize, downsize, upsize, downsize. So I can give them my story. Timeline. And how do you plan to do it? You'd be surprised that people don't really know. They think they've got a trailer they can put on the back of their Volkswagen and, they're going to move. In their heads, that's what they're thinking. They don't realize it's going to take a semi truck and, a lot of those things are our education, ask them questions. We don't want to tell them this is what it's going to take, but ask the questions, like how do you plan to do it? And it's going to be self-revealing. So in Command, you can label buyers and sellers. And this is a good way to categorize them, A, B, and C. Keep it simple. You can always put in another tag or something else if you need to. But 0 to 14 days they're wanting to move or get, I mean, they're ready, right? That's a hot lead, right? So that would be an A, buyer or seller. I would say 0 to 30 myself, especially in this market, because you do have to be thinking out ahead. And let me just say that as we get into B and C, I'll go through them first. B, 15 to 60 days. I'd say that's a B plus. That means they're really thinking, pretty quick. And I would keep in touch with them as often as you can. And one, make sure they have your app. 2, make sure that you have them on a campaign so that they're getting things from you. If you don't put them on a campaign, at least, send them a direct email or, just keep in touch. Phone calls. Hi there. And welcome.
Thank you.
And you are?
Gozbe.
Gozbe?
Gozbe. Okay. That's okay, no problem. G-O-Z-D-E.
G-O-V-D-E. Oh, all right. It's kind of hard to.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
because of mask, yeah, it's hard.
Well, welcome.
Yeah, I know. Thank
We
you.
haven't discussed anything yet, so.
Did you say my name?
No?
No? Okay, I thought I was going to say Heather. It's like,
Feeling like-
I don't think I did.
okay, never mind. I was just making sure.
All right, thanks for checking, Heather. All right, so keeping in touch with them. Remember I said the money's in the follow-up? You're gonna keep hearing me say that because I'm really bad at that. All right? I'm up here teaching, so I can teach myself something. Okay, so the money's in the follow-up. Last year, I lost about 100,000 in commissions, not following up. Now it's on video. Oh. Yeah, I just did a quick that was a quick calculation of people I missed out. Not
So-
following up.
With the follow-up on the A, it says follow-up daily. So pretty much like every day doing.
Oh, yeah, you would, yeah, if you've got a hot buyer or somebody, keep talking to them daily. Even if you gotta tell them nothing new came on the market today, it's okay. If they're tired of hearing from you, they'll tell you. But usually they aren't if you're giving them some type of information. Okay, and then C, this between B and C is where I get a little nervous because that's when people a lot of times will jump ship. Oh, I went to an open house and I found another agent. We don't want that to happen, do we? We want to be their agent of choice. Is that correct? So if they say 60 days or more, let's say they say, oh, like right now, a lot of them are saying, well, June or July. And all of a sudden houses start coming on the market or, they see their neighbor's house sold for, a lot of money and they're like, oh, gee, maybe we ought to do it too. They call the guy that sold their neighbor's house instead, because all of a sudden they change their timeline and we haven't kept in touch, so they don't call us. So that's why it's really important that we keep in touch with them. More, I think on the Cs, even more than what it says here, which it just says call monthly. I think it depends, it's kind of goes with the seasons. Does that make sense? I mean, you probably don't have to call them every week if it's, you know, October through January. But as we get into the selling season, I think you need to really step it up. Talk to them more often. Questions on that? Oh, now we got to do some home. Oh, my. You guys ready to do some work? Categorize your seller. Well, have they had you guys doing that stuff? Doing it live? Like role play? You got 2-2, 2-2, and then the 2 online. 3 online. Would you like to do this? Sure, why don't you guys switch? So it's not you two.
Okay.
And just talk about, you know, seller motivation and, you know, you ask the questions that we just went through. So pick whoever wants to be the seller first and then switch. Gabi, maybe you and Elizabeth, maybe?
Yeah, let's take, yeah.
And remember, there's no right or wrong. This is all learning.
Wait, so. You be the agent first, I'll be the seller.
Yeah.
However, we do make calls or do we do,
However you want. Just take 5 minutes and it doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong. Whatever you think you want to work on.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, everyone.
Because I So you just. Okay, so you have questions? Yeah, married. I have a baby. Okay. So I house. Yeah. That's good to know. Okay. I'm gonna just work pretty close to the city. Yeah. In Minneapolis or St. Paul. Yeah. Yeah. Good question. Yeah. Okay.
When will you?
Okay. What's your time?
Maybe just do it like 3 months.
In 2 weeks. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The way that I work,
Yeah.
is like from now on.
Okay. Agent two.
and then where do you want to go?
Where? Sure, you're right.
Yeah, but it's
School district.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay. 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 Oh, and they're just growing their family, it sounds like.
Yeah, and everything is this.
Okay.
So that's what we want.
Your benefit is houses and construction.
Yeah.
There are many listed there.
Okay.
So, you
Sounds
know,
good to
then they
hear.
are-
They just like that out.
So it's a little. This is like we actually talking. Yeah. That's why a little old house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you have two chins.
People specialize. People specialize. And some people yeah, okay. That's what you find.
So I just recommend them a couple of people construction builders.
So where they're going,
So they
right now,
recommend it.
we're meeting together.
The one that I like, yeah, it's the usually I
Then,
recommend
once
about
we get that.
1 month to use it for them. So every day they just inspect, very good, check where the construction, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can fix them all the time. They're all
So that's
sort
what
of
we're
for a
houses and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
This is so, I don't understand, sorry.
Yeah.
Questions?
Oh,
This is the best place to ask questions.
And just let you know.
And then math is what I need to ask them. But they were practicing like that.
okay,
So I do that.
okay,
Right now.
yeah.
So I think it's only.
I think. Yeah. Yeah, number 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Why did you get 4 kids?
Oh, to me?
Yes, you have 4 kids, right?
Yeah, well, 2 is after.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I do.
Two
biological, and then 2 adopted.
Were they?
Yeah, I didn't do that very well, because I should have, first of all, Liz is like, no, don't hear the story.
Either.
Why? I don't know. You know, she's- Oh, so maybe I should have explained that. You know, I'm new at this, so, but those are my kids, yeah. Yeah. No, this is so good, like, yeah, we get all that. So she's in the right. Yeah. And then the next one, Charlie, is he graduated from the city. He's a man. He was my spring. Yeah, I think we're doing there too, but. So it's just. So pretty much forever. And he's a lunch for a week. You know, he's not like really driven, but he's really, you know, he's so he was looking into public health. You know, like. So anyways, this was supposed to leave right after graduation last May. Because of COVID. So. Yeah. This is something, where did you get this?
That's on the.
Okay, I'm gonna write down the name.
Usually, if you ask, Alex will send it to you.
Okay.
Because Matt is the one who sends it.
Yeah.
Which one is that?
The calendar of how everything goes through.
For the class or
No,
for
that calendar, like, what, because,
what you should be doing?
yeah.
Got it.
When I do my first meeting, it's like,
Yep.
I explain them the process and everything, so pretty much just whatever.
Okay.
Okay, that's so good, thank you.
So question,
Usually, like, those are math is the one that gave it to me. I focus on this one, or I have one that is different. It has like this. Heather has it.
Okay, I think she's the one who made it. Okay.
so any ahas on that as you're talking it through? So if we don't practice here, if we don't practice, and I'm sure you've heard this, you're practicing on your clients, right? So we always want to practice. Doctors don't come out of school knowing everything. They do practice, right? But they've had plenty of practice ahead of time. And that's what we need to do too. You always want to be ready. You always want to know what's coming. Any ahas for you? You all?
It's so good hearing Gabby go through that calendar of the timeline. Oh, that's what she said. She goes through with all of her listing presentations.
And that, yeah, you want to put that into your listing presentation. So do you know where to find the listing presentation, everybody? Here it is. You log into your command and I believe it's under the campaign center. Well, yeah, designs. Yeah, it is called designs now. Yeah. You know, I'm not the tech person of the team, so, but so I would recommend that you all do that. Go through and make one. Just make a mock one, whatever. And put in that timeline that like Gabby is talking about. You know, these are the expectations. These are the things that are going to happen. I believe it might even be in here. If you look at the, Gabby, wasn't that in under listing presentations? Or did he just give you that separately?
No, he usually sends me like a group of documents and shares them with me. So, but Heather will print a couple. And show.
Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. So we'll get that. This says to practice the listing presentation. Well, we're not even going to build that in here unless you really want to. You want to go through it step by step? Yeah, we've already, you know, it's like overlapping information here, but that's why I said go in and actually build one for yourself, even if you never use that one. At least you get used to the system and you can go in and put everything you need into it. And if you have any questions, ask. A lot of people here know. Matt's a very good resource. We know that, right? And Matt and Alex. Also, I drew. So, you know, it's backing up on that a little bit here. If you're doing a listing presentation over the phone, obviously you're not going to have, you could email this packet out to them, right? What do you think the number one question is to ask potential client? Ask them for the appointment. Okay, if you're not doing the appointment, you're asking for the appointment. And a lot of agents won't ask for the appointment. they'll just say, you know, oh, thank you, have a nice day, we'll talk to you soon. No, ask for the appointment, because it's amazing at how many people are waiting for that question. They want to know, you know, what, are you really committing to me as I'm committing to you? You know, it goes back and forth, right? So set that appointment. Heather, you're back. Where was that timeline? I'll tell the other.
This?
Yeah.
I made it.
Oh,
Can you email it?
I certainly.
Heather's gonna email out this timeline that we are discussing. She'll email that out to us today. Today?
And that's on the call?
Yeah,
Perfect.
thank
I'll
you.
do that right now. Thank you.
You're awesome, Heather. What a bunch of rock stars around here. We kind of practiced that already, didn't we? So what, you guys, obviously, you gotta have questions on listing. Questions? I know, as soon as you walk out of here, you'll be like,
So I have a situation right now where we met somebody at the open house and she seemed very eager to work with us and stuff. And
Very eager?
yeah, and we like bonded with her and stuff and decided we were gonna set up a meeting to go to her house and a listing appointment. And then she called me back today and said that she was originally, or a while back, was working with somebody else from Medina Realty. And she messaged her the morning of the open house and then hadn't heard from her, so she was more likely to work with us. But then she's kind of one of those loyal people, I feel like, that doesn't want to burn bridges with somebody. And so I don't know what to do in this situation now. I got your advice. Like,
Well-
I left it saying, well, like, no, you're not bothering us. If you still want to meet, we can do that. And
Yeah, I would just get the appointment, first of all.
she wouldn't. She didn't want to waste her time. She kept saying that, and I kept stressing that it wasn't wasting her time.
Some people would say something like, well, that's too bad that agent took so long to get back to you. You know, we're gonna get back to you immediately, and we're following up all the time. And you'd be surprised, you could flip them,
Yeah.
you know?
Or like, I guess how I left it, like, we'd still love to work with you, or like think about who you have a better working relationship with, kind of, and like stay in touch. You have my contact information.
So you gotta just keep in touch. Keep,
So yeah, I guess like what do I say from now?
I'd still be pushing to get the appointment.
Really?
Mhm.
And just say, just wanted to follow up.
Well, I think I would present it like, I think you deserve to hear how we do business also. How can they say no to that?
It's kind of a fine line that you don't want to turn on, you know?
Yeah, so for you guys online, and Elizabeth had met someone at an open house, developed a great relationship. We're gonna meet to sell her house. Then she said, oh, but I had a previous relationship with an Edina Realty agent. Doesn't sound like they had a contract, but anyway, and so the question is how do you handle something like that? And I just keep going back to try and get an appointment with them no matter what. So we got to show them our value and let them know that they do deserve to see the value we can bring them. And that usually will get you the appointment. If we're bold enough to say it that way. You know, I'm not saying we all are, because sometimes I'm not, you know, people. But all you can do is, you know, give them that information. They still have to make a decision. We never want to talk about another agent other than, like I said, well, you know, keeping it kind of positive. Well, we'll get back to you right away, you know.
Or I will say the other thing to that is like, actually, that's one of the questions that we make. How often do you want us to communicate with you guys?
Yeah. Ask them. Ask them ahead of time. Yeah. At the open. Open houses can be, you meet so many different personalities at open houses. Just keep in mind, you're always learning. Every person that comes through, you learn something from. Take something from every person. You'll never regret that. Even though you might not get them all, you learn something. All right? You know, and today, I think people want a little more space. If I heard you correctly, the question was, should we greet them at the door? Yes. I think with COVID, I give them that space, you know, leave the door cracked open. They can just walk in, have your stuff in, like the kitchen area is the best area to put your materials if you have anything. And give them space. And then you can usually tell if they want you to walk them through the house or if they want to walk through themselves. Most people don't want you to follow them through a house. Just keep that in mind. They don't want you like following right behind, tagging on them. They would rather, what's going on here? Oh.
Yeah.
You know, and then just make sure you get their contact info. And I always say it's not for me, it's for the sellers. The sellers want, you know, a record of everybody that's come through. Could you please sign here? Don't ask them, just say, please sign here. I usually fill out the first couple. John Doe. Yeah, I do. Because nobody wants to be the first one on the list. So my brother-in-law, I use him all the time. Any questions on that, like with opens? I mean.
How do you, we've asked a lot of our speakers about this, about asking if they're working with an agent.
How do you go about asking them?
Yeah, just how do you personally do it?
It's pretty easy.
Like, what do you say?
Let's pretend you're coming into the open.
Okay.
You know, hi, how are you? You know, we start talking, you know, and what do you think of the house so far?
I really like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of character. Yeah.
So you love the home?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So are you currently working with an agent right now? Are you on? Oh, sorry, I got to back up. Erase that. Are you under contract with an agent right now?
That's the best way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you say working with, it might be some friend of a friend of a friend. But if you say under contract, 95% of the time they are not under contract yet. That's their next step. So I always ask that question. If they're not under contract, they're fair game, right? Whether they've been talking to another person or not. So question is, are you under contract?
Then what if they say like, well,
We have
I have an agent I'm working with and blah, 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 like kind of go around answering it. So they're not under contract. You can tell they're not, but they I don't know, then what are you saying? Like, what's your follow-up?
There again, you got to bring it back to yourself and what you can do for them. You know, I've gone as far as saying, well, how come your agent isn't with you this weekend? Or, you know what I mean? There's different questions you can ask like that. Bringing it back to you, saying so many words, you really want a bulldog like me working for you, don't you? You really want someone that's going to really work hard for you, don't you? And of course they want that. And then in their minds, they're starting to go toward, you know, drift towards you. They're starting to forget about this other person who's a friend of an uncle, you know. We can't get them all. You know, that's one of the things you got to remember. It is a numbers game. And it's no reflection on what you said or didn't say. You know, can you be better? Yes, you're going to continue to get better. And then you get more and more of them. We never want to expect to get everyone, because then we get frustrated. So I always take the approach that I gave it my best shot and they made a poor decision. Right? You know,
I would say, if you are looking for a house in this neighborhood, we do have different options. I mean, like from the MLS, we see different options.
in an open house.
I will be happy to help you.
Yes, I usually have those houses. I usually bring other houses and even in different price ranges because you never know. I mean, I don't always have it on paper, but I have it like on my laptop so I can pull it up real quick and go. Because you can usually tell, you know, if all of a sudden she says, well, we really wanted 3-bedroom and this is only 2, and you've got right there a 3-bed, then you can show it to them.
Who's going to check it at the time?
What's that?
Somebody should check it. I mean, when we are helping with one client, another one should check it.
We'll come to them. And then you can't talk to them.
I've had open houses.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, it is, if it's a hot property, I would highly recommend at least 2 people right now. Because if you're busy with one client and you got 4 others that have come through, and this has happened to me before, where one of those couples then went back and called Uncle John's friend's friend, and then they wrote an offer. And they weren't under contract with them when they came through. Had I had extra time, we would have probably got them under contract. So I like what you said is 2 people. It takes at least 2 nowadays. I don't care how good you are. You know, if it's a slow open, big deal. Then you get to bounce out. You can practice your listing presentation, right? Or something. Whatever you do, don't just sit and watch Netflix. Always keep it about real estate. One of the first open houses I went to when I got into the business was new construction up in Hugo, and I walked in and the agent was sleeping on the couch.
Wow.
I'm not lying. And, you know, it kind of gave me a little encouragement. I was like, wow, I can do better than that. So keep the focus. Yeah. Keep the focus on real estate. Know your numbers, know the area. Know all those houses around there that have sold or coming soon or active. So we kind of got off script here, but we're okay, right? We're not gonna. Did you say, oh, Beth, you guys recognize all that. That's fun. I love it. I don't know why I got all this. Sorry. Okay, so who's gonna go today or tonight and make a listing presentation? Just pick a property and make it for it, you know, if it, even if, just,
Let's put your sweatshirt on.
you know, find a friend's house or something and just do a listing presentation on it. Put their name in, do it. And just do it, practice it. You can take things out, put things in. Now it says we're supposed to do that here. I don't think we're gonna take the time to do that because you guys want to leave as quickly as possible. So y'all promise to do that? Oh, how about if you take the extra hour of time that I'm gonna give you and do it then?
Are leaving early?
Oh, how late are we supposed to be here?
4.
We're not gonna be here till 4.
Okay.
Well, I-
Then that's, yeah,
Shh.
we have a coaching session at 4.
Oh yeah, I'll give you an hour and 10 minutes
I
because we're gonna be done in about 10 minutes. You okay with that?
Yeah.
No. I made my appointment at 4, so I can just go back and.
So do you have a listing presentation done already?
No, I have a
Okay, then work on it. Half the time you've been working on your,
other one that I was telling you, the other order that I have. So
which one is that?
it's just like
Oh, yeah.
the order, but it's going down. I can just.
A lot of these things are in command. I know they're difficult to find, but if you ever have, you know, want to know where to get something or, you know,
You can go to the Facebook too and ask like where. to
Yeah,
get it done.
just go on the Roseville KWIR
Yeah, that's it.
and ask the question. Or ask Heather or Jordan knows where most things are too. Right, Jordan? Oh, yeah. She's not gonna talk to me.
This one is usually more fancy, but there is one which is not really fancy, but the questions are is like easy, quick questions, is easy to understand. Okay, where is this? I should double check. Yeah.
All right, well, I got a commitment from most of you, right? If I let you go early, you're gonna work on that.
Yes.
Oh, see, they're calling you already. It's a seller.
Oh, it's potential spam.
Oh. Hey, you know what? I've learned just recently, potential spam is a lot of times it's a real estate agent. I think because they make so many calls, we all make so many calls. Mine's been, you know, like they'll be calling on a listing or something. And it'll say potential spam.
But I got them before I was a realtor.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to put a positive spin on it. Could be an agent wanting to buy your listing.
We have one. No, we don't.
Okay, so you all know how to get to that and you know how to do it. Recap. So do you like the pre-qualifying questions, that sheet that? Are you gonna follow it? Yeah, I always, that's part of my listing packet when I go to the house. Or if it's over the phone and I'm talking to them, that's part of that. That becomes part of their file, which is you know, everything's so electronic now, but that's one thing I usually write down. Because when you're on the phone, you know, you got to make some notes real quick, right? And then I make an electronic copy of it after, keep it in there. I have a file for each buyer and seller. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, because you can upload as much as you want into Command, right? There's no limit, so. So what would an AHA be from that pre-qualification questionnaire?
Just like having all the questions right there, you know, and they're really good questions.
Keeps you on task?
Yeah.
There you go.
Good-
I
good
like it.
questions.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you're in
Cover
charge,
Yeah.
sort of. I mean, I don't like that word. You're in control. Because really, you know, with sellers, it's an emotional decision usually, and they want to be in control. There's usually one of them, if it's two especially, you know, one of them is going to want to be in control. And show you every nick and nook in the house, and, you know, because they're like, you know. But if you keep the control and ask all those questions, and then you the eyes of a buyer. And so I can do it on my own if you want to come with, but I'd like to see it through the eyes of a buyer. And if you tell me everything about the house, I'm not seeing it through the eyes of a buyer. So I try to go through the house alone. I know I keep talking about other things.
That's good.
Somebody's got to have a question from things I've either said or in the materials. Okay, nobody does. So I think, you know, as a group, you guys have alluded to it a couple times, how you've kind of almost bonded even with people online and kind of get to know their, right? So just knowing that we're all kind of in the same boat, we're all doing the same things, how does that affect you? Knowing that we're all kind of going the same direction, right? Kind of gives you a little confidence, maybe, little, hey, I'm doing it. I mean, I'm such a slow learner. It took me many years and I was like, oh, yeah, I guess we are doing it. Seriously. And it's my son and I think I shared that with you guys. You know, and we've had, like I said, as many as 7. And now as little as 2 without any admin support. And so we've done both. I'm getting to the age where I'm like, I need more admin support and I don't want to do all this stuff. I love showing houses. I love meeting with sellers. You know, it's the stuff in between that I fall down on. But knowing that we're all in the same boat gives us a little bit of confidence, doesn't it? Like I said about the guy laying on the couch, I can do that. a lot better than he is, right? I'm gonna sit up during an open house and I'm gonna turn the football game off. I'm gonna keep it all about real estate. All the time, everywhere you go, it's always about, somehow it's, you don't have to ask for business to bring up real estate, right? I'm getting a haircut, oh, where do you live? And then you start asking questions and just develop those relationships. Remember, it's all about relationship. The money will come if you build the relationships. So many times we focus on just the money and we miss them. People can see the dollar signs. If you're thinking money, it's like putting it right on your forehead. If you're thinking, I want to help you, they know it. That's all I got, I think. Let's see. Well, so far in Ignite, how has your thinking changed? What ideas or mindsets are new? Did I give you any mindset ideas today? Or have you heard any in Ignite? Practice, yeah. What do you feel differently about and what was meaningful for you today? Anything? This is the first time I've taught a class in like 3 years, so I'm sorry. I'm bad. I should have prepared more, but I didn't.
Lucy said open house, I was helpful to talk about
Open houses?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about if you get frustrated in a listing appointment? Who's going to remember that one? Drop the pen, right?
Yeah.
Just knock it off the table. Oh, I don't know if you were here when I said that. So if you think you're losing in a listing appointment, in other words, they're getting it, drop the pen. Accidentally drop the pen. Say, excuse me, bend over, pick the pen up, and when you're down there grabbing the pen, just say to yourself, I got this, and I'm gonna get it. And when you come back up, you got a whole different attitude. So don't forget that one. That's one of the best nuggets I've ever, because there's times when they start taking over the appointment, they start telling you about, whatever, taking you down this rabbit trail. And you want to keep on track with what you're going to deliver to them. So that's one way we can do it, is just a mind reset. So there's an answer to this one. How will your behaviors be different going forward? And what actions will you take going forward? Yes, Jordan? We're wrapping up.
I know.
Question, come on.
It's good to hear that we need to take control of the appointments and to make sure that we are leading them.
There you go.
Same with the questionnaire.
So if you start getting led, what do we do?
Drop the pen.
You got it. Whatever it takes to do a mind reset, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it takes, but this one works good. Even Jordan, I could even teach Jordan that one. So the tools, models, or systems you're going to be using, one, the timeline thing. This was sent I think it was emailed, maybe. I think Heather was taking care of it. The questionnaires, both of them. And you're all using Command. Learning. That's it. That's all I got.
Thank you. I'm gonna go empty.
Want me to shut this down?
I'll come to it.
She's awesome. I think we lost a few of them.
It was a small group today, very quiet.
That's because they heard it was me. See, I feel bad. Nobody wanted to hear me. I'm just kidding.